It's home to some of the most recognizable landmarks in the world. From Lady Liberty to Times Square to Wall Street, New York City is the symbol of American strength and prosperity. But as we close in on the 23rd anniversary of 9/11, our hearts and minds go back to a day that changed our world forever.
A plane crashed into Level 4 of the World Trade Center.
In the aftermath of the deadliest attack on American soil, New York has rebuilt with the National September 11th Memorial and Museum in the heart of Manhattan, where the Twin Towers once stood. Each year, millions of tourists from all over the world converge here to see firsthand thousands of remnants that tell the story of that chaotic day.
Visitors can expect a very moving and powerful experience, probably more inspiring than they might assume when they come to a museum that's about 9/11, which was a tough day for New York City, for the United States, and for the world. The museum is a distinctive site. We're right here, co-located with the 9/11 Memorial. The 9/11 Memorial pools are in the footprints of the Twin Towers. It's an archaeological site. It goes right down to bedrock. That's where I'm standing right now, actually here in the museum. It has monumental artifacts as big as the steel beams that were hit by the airplanes that hit the towers, and as small as items that reveal the humanity and the lives of the people who were killed that day.
Visitors to the museum get a good sense of what happened on that day with an interactive experience that walks them through a minute-by-minute chronological timeline.
Well, one of the amazing things we have is one of our monumental artifacts, the survivor stairs. Those are stairs that many people escaped from the North Tower because they were shielded by an overhang, so people could walk down those stairs and out and get away from the tower before it collapsed. And one of the things that people sometimes don't know about 9/11 is how many people successfully evacuated. The people who lived through that day remember that initially we all thought many more people had been killed when the towers collapsed, but actually many people did escape. Some could not. Almost 3,000 people were killed that day. Those are the people that our site focuses on remembering, but thousands also escaped. And the survivor stairs, we have that staircase here in the museum that people raced down to get away from the tower before it collapsed.
Though there was no shortage of heroes on that day, thousands more came together to help with the cleanup efforts. Sadly, that too proved to be deadly, as it is now believed that at least 2,000 additional people died prematurely, with many more suffering lifelong illnesses due to the toxic nature of the site.
Many of the people who rushed to help New York at its darkest moment breathed in that dust. It had lead, it had its asbestos, it had pulverized glass. There were 40,000 windows in the World Trade Centers, and that all collapsed into dust when the Twin Towers both collapsed. So many people have gotten sick and died from breathing that dust, and we have a new installation called Dust, Illness and Advocacy After 9/11 that tells the story, not only the effects of that dust, but also the advocates who fought to get recognition of those effects and compensation from the government for their health care, and also to compensate them for the suffering that they went through.
This 90-minute tour is one that every American should experience. Though it's a day that we all wish had never happened, it's also one that we should never forget.
I think when they leave inspired by the courage and compassion that they see in the responses to 9/11, the losses of 9/11 were unfathomable. And coming here and seeing how the World Trade Center site has been rebuilt, and how we recognize and cherish the people who were lost, and the stories of how that came to be, but also celebrate what has happened since. The rebuilding of the site, all the folks who came to help New York in the aftermath of the attacks and on that day, all those folks, you can respond to catastrophe with courage and with compassion, and people can recover, and I think that's a great lesson that many people leave here with.